Alright guys, so the rear is the same deal, but this is going to be so much easier, it's not even funny. And as an added bonus, for you guys who have been following this build, if you recognize that, that used to be the tower brace back when it still had the Pontiac motor in it. And we're gonna get to repurpose this, and conveniently, there's some bolt holes in the frame with an access hole already in this thing. And I don't know what it's for. It's for some sort of an option, maybe a trailer hitch or something. I don't know, it's really far forward. But anyway, it's a strong part of the frame, and this thing will bolt right to it. And we're just gonna make a plate that goes on the inside of it, and there's an access right here to get to it. And it'd be perfect. Look how it just matches the floor. The problem is it's too narrow, so we're gonna full pin weld a piece and a section in the center, and then we are going to mount this tube to it using their little brackets, and we'll just modify those and we'll weld them permanent since this whole thing can come off the frame with bolts. We're gonna make it permanent, and then that'll get it down low enough to where when it goes up it won't hit the exhaust, and it'll kind of be a little, you know, cover back here. It shouldn't get in the way of anything because it's still into the tires, and it's just absolutely perfect center of these bolt mounts to the back of the axle. And then we'll just use their tabs just like we were supposed to do on the front and make our end links, and we're done. So this one should be easy, so let's start off by making this bolt on, and then we can go from there. Okay, so 47 3/8 is the center to center on the holes. Those holes are symmetrical, so I'm going to go from the far edge of that pad to the beginning edge of this pad, and that will give us our center to center. So 47 3/8. Get these as straight as we can. There. And now if you go center to center, it's 47 3/8. So it's a lot easier to do it that way than eyeball center of a hole. So that means we need exactly 11.5 in between. So we'll cut a piece of that tube, 11.5. Well, apparently I forgot to push record again. So there it is. I'm actually really close to not having enough travel between hitting the exhaust and then hitting the bolts. But I couldn't have gone any farther forward with it, or we would have been in trouble. If I come too much farther back, the angle of the end link is going to be too drastic and it could cam over, and so the rear end would end up above the arm. So that wouldn't work either. So that's the problem with having so much travel and running a sway bar. The one fix to that would be running a longer arm so that the rotation is less for the amount of travel. The rotation of this, because if it's longer, it's gonna spend less rotation to go. The problem is it makes your bar weaker because it's like a bigger lever. So there's a ton of catch-22. So another option I have is to move my exhaust up and then run the arms up higher, because it can swing up quite a ways if the exhaust wasn't there. But the problem is I would have to turn it way over and then get over by my coilover and then come back down, which it's not the end of the world, but really didn't want to have to redo my exhaust. I thought the back was going to be the easy side. Okay, so 5.5 inches from here down. With this air on the side of being up a little too high. 5.5. Okay, so that puts us, it's exactly 14 right there. So 5.5, 14 minus 5.5, so that's 8.5. So that's the length of our arm that it needs to be. Yeah. Center to center. So let's go make those. All right, guys, so there it is. So that's the TK-1 Racing Ultra 4 style rear sway bar. So Ultra 4 rear sway bar. It's not a style, it is an Ultra 4 sway bar. So It should be pretty good back here. I don't anticipate having too many problems. The only problem we may have is, well, there's two problems that potentially, there's a million problems that potentially could come up, but the ones that are most probable is the in link hitting the brake line, and then yeah, I'm pointing the wrong way. The in link hitting the brake line. It may hit, I don't think it's going to, but it might. And then also in full droop, making sure that the angle is not too drastic on the in link going to the sway bar. So that's all I anticipate on the rear that is a potential problem. And then on the front, we have that steering stuff, the steering geometry stuff that I'm gonna tackle, and we already got the parts rolling in on it. So that will be next week. But we need to be able to flex this thing fully, and I tried doing it with jacks and stuff, and now it has the sway bars on it. I really need to do it from the wheels, from all the way to the outside, because jacking it in is like a lever. It's funny, the image on the camera is backwards, so it's hard to point. So jacking it in on the axle is, you don't have enough leverage anymore, so it just kind of lifts the whole back end now. So it doesn't really flex with the jack anymore, and it starts getting real hairy because you have to go up really, really high to try to get it to flex. So I'm gonna build some race ramps next week. I'll do that as its own video, because that should be a pretty fun little fab project for guys. And I'm gonna try to build them so they're tiered, so that I can flex this, and then I can flex the tracker as well, because obviously the tracker doesn't need nearly the ramp that the Safari Wagon will need. So anyway, so thanks for watching. We'll see you again next week. We got lots of cool videos coming out, little tracker repair videos, more of a funny story, and then a little repair on the tracker that tried to strand me. It didn't, it actually got me back, but it tried to strand me on the way back, getting that tubing notcher so that we can finish this project up. So anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you again a little later this week.